Welcome to this episode of Active Aging. My name is Danielle Procopio. I'm happy to be your host today. I'm very excited to tell you a little bit about a new resource that's being brought to our community as a partnership through Ohio Living and Youngstown State University. It's going to be a great program that our seniors are going to be able to take advantage of. And today, talking about it, I've got Tiffany Hughes from Youngstown State University and Sarah Hadley from Ohio Living. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Of course, before we get started, I'd love for you both to introduce yourselves and tell me a little bit about who you are and where you're from. So if Tiffany'd like to get started, that'd be great.
Hi, sure. Thank you for having us. So my name's Tiffany Hughes. I am currently Associate Professor at Youngstown State University. I'm trained as a gerontologist, so I focus my teaching, service, and research in helping older adults remain healthy and independent for as long as possible. And I have a master's of public health and epidemiology. So I focus really on older adults at the community, societal level and helping them stay active and engaged with life. So this is a perfect opportunity for me to work with Ohio Living and bring more intergenerational learning to our community.
Great. And Sarah?
Hi, my name is Sarah Hadley. I'm the Executive Director for Ohio Living. I oversee the greater Cleveland and also the greater Youngstown locations. I've been with Ohio Living almost 12 years. I'm a registered nurse by background, and my background really consists of hospice care and also intensive care. And I am a Trumbull County girl, born and raised. And so this project really means a lot to me, especially to partner with Youngstown State University.
Fantastic. I appreciate both of you being here today and taking time out of your very busy schedules to talk a little bit about this program. Before we kind of get into the nuts and bolts of what you're going to be doing, I want to talk a little bit about the aging population. In my previous life, when I was working in aging services in Mahoning County, I had the pleasure of working adjacent to both of your organizations and at times being able to partner and work together. And so I know that we've all seen how things have evolved over the last several years, with our aging population and specifically here in Northeast Ohio. So I want to talk a little bit about how that population is changing. What have you both seen, with the aging population here?
Would you like me to get started?
Sure, Tiffany, go ahead.
Well, I think it's just important for us to recognize that, the whole world is aging, the United States is aging, and the Mahoning Valley is aging. We're not excluded from that demographic change and shift. And so currently about 25% of Mahoning County is over 65, and that's expected to grow. I mean, the US population of older adults is expected to double by 2060. So, I think we hear a lot about the silver tsunami. We prefer not to use that term because it kind of has a negative connotation as if it's a bad thing. But nonetheless, it does at least raise awareness about the growing number of older adults in our society and what that might mean and what we might need to do to prepare for that change.
Absolutely.
I think the same things that Tiffany has said statistically, but the other thing that we see in healthcare is that our family units have changed. So oftentimes we see that there's a lot of isolation with our seniors, and those family units that a long time ago, we used to see that the families really stayed together in their towns. They didn't move away, and they became the primary caregivers. That's changing. And so there's a lot of stress on sometimes the seniors to try to maintain their independence for a long time. And so that's another component that we're seeing. And so we're trying to keep them engaged and healthy and independent as long as possible, and also try to bring as many resources to them as possible.
Absolutely. And Tiffany referred to that demographic change that we're expecting. So of course, we're going to have more seniors entering, more people entering that age bracket, and more people that are going to be needing services. So, I know that there's going to be some changes on the healthcare front, as well as the organizations that are going to be serving that population. And I know that when we talk about that population, specifically our baby boomers, we're seeing that their needs and their interests are very different than, that age group of previous generations. So talk to me a little bit about what does that look like? Like what's the shift there? What are we going to see with our baby boomers?
Go ahead, Tiffany.
Well, I think I try to really hammer home to students, but I think just everyone at large can just appreciate that we are living longer, but we're living healthier lives. And I think that's certainly true of the baby boom generation. And because they're more active and healthier, they're going to want to do more things. And nothing against, playing bingo or crocheting by any means, but that's just not, I think, what the baby boomers are going to want to do. And a lot of the stereotypical senior centers today really are catering more, I think, to the older generation, and the baby boomers are not, they don't see themselves as being quote unquote an older adult. And if we want to bring them in and get them engaged, we need to offer, I think, more active type programming for them, related to continuing to learn and be engaged physically, socially, mentally, and all those kinds of things. So I think that that's kind of the big thing, is that they still want to be out there. They have more time and money than any other generation has at this age. And so they want to, do more recreational things and leisurely pursuits, volunteer more, and just stay generally more active and engaged.
I've definitely seen that even in still some of the seniors today, you're seeing that they're more active, even in that 80, 90 year range, they're still driving and volunteering. And so that's a very different, narrative than what we expect from, what we've seen of seniors in years past. So things are definitely evolving. When we talk about our baby boomer population, I know there's also a concern of what the impact the aging population is going to have on society, with knowing that, one of our largest generational groups will be the oldest. What should we expect from like a societal perspective as well as a healthcare perspective? We've seen that healthcare has been under a tremendous strain since the beginning of the pandemic. We've lost a lot of employees from burnout, unfortunately, from illness, from, a lot of different reasons. And we're not seeing as many professionals choosing to enter healthcare. So as we know that this larger population is coming up, despite them being healthier, to Tiffany's point, what are some of the effects that we should expect, that we should see in society as well as on the healthcare systems?
From a healthcare standpoint, the statistics are very unsettling, and it's not just from COVID. These were things that even 10 years ago, a decade ago, we knew were going to be challenges. And Tiffany and I actually had started talking about this project even pre-COVID for this very purpose, because we really saw that one, we wanted to change the concept of what our senior center was for this purpose of the aging adult, but also we wanted to work on our workforce and how do we integrate those two things. But there are studies from Mercer recently that are showing just statistically we will be outnumbered. And so how do we change that? And how do we think differently? And how do we engage a younger generation to want to go into this field and look at this field differently? So in my opinion, we really need to start earlier. And, so I am trying to work backwards. This is my first step in working with the university. I hope to, after this can get moving, start even sooner and start working with high schools and even elementary schools. And we've got to start somewhere, and that's the thing. And I'm hoping that even other healthcare administrators and executives start to see that this is what we need to do. So it really is something that we all have to work towards in order to make that change happen.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because young people today have more choices than they've ever had before. And especially with the way the workforce has evolved as a result of COVID, so many positions that traditionally were, in an office or on site have now become remote positions. And so, healthcare, during the pandemic, we were all coming to work. We weren't working from home. Unfortunately, we had to be there to serve everyone. And so, that's a different choice, when you know that that's a job that, despite the snow, despite the illness, despite whatever's going on, like we all have to be there. And so, it is alarming when you look at the rates of students that are choosing to come into healthcare professions. And we know that we're going to need more in order to serve our entire population. This is not an issue that's just going to affect our aging population. It's going to be all of us that are going to need these nurses and physicians to care, therapists to care for us. So I'm excited to talk a little bit about this program, and find out about what we're trying to do in our community in order to kind of increase that interest in healthcare professions amongst our youth. So that being said, I'm going to transition it right back over to you both and let you tell us a little bit about this partnership and kind of what it is and where it's coming from.
Could I add one thing?
You can add anything, of course, Tiffany.
Well, I think I also think, and maybe this ties into just a general talk or discussion about the partnership, but going back again to our society is aging and what are the impacts, I think, again, trying to really focus the fact that so many older adults are healthy and can still contribute to our society in a positive way. And so, yes, we definitely have a workforce crisis. I think that's even an appropriate word, in terms of direct care workers, especially working with our older adult population. But there's a lot of career opportunities for working with healthy older adults. And it's not just all in the healthcare sector. That's a big area that we certainly need to focus on, but it extends beyond that. And I think, partnering with the university, that's part of, Sarah and I have talked a lot about how we can demonstrate to students that there's opportunities in other areas. It's not just even direct care. You can work on behalf, whether it's policy, whether it's marketing, whether it's hospitality management. These are more active seniors. They're going to want to vacation and do fun things and all through that remaining engaged with life. And so, part of this is getting the students to interact with these older adults and seeing new opportunities that they may have not been aware of or considered in the past. And I feel like the senior center being a more active and engaging environment, perhaps versus a healthcare setting, is where students kind of maybe get a more positive perception of older adults, what aging is all about. They don't necessarily just see them as sick, frail people. And by, seeing it in that light, it might, hopefully at least get them interested. And then as they look more into it, learn more about the aging process, they might have a more positive view and be more likely to pursue a career either working with or on behalf of older adults, and not necessarily just in healthcare. So I think that's an important thing to consider.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that you made that point, Tiffany, because I don't want to have a narrow tunnel vision in the scope of our conversation and only focus on healthcare. And you make such an eloquent point about how there's so many other ways for people to work alongside of or on behalf of our aging population. So I'm excited to hear more about how you're planning to talk with the community about that. So talk to me about the partnership and exactly what you're saying, Tiffany. How are we going to allow our students to see these opportunities and understand more about them and connect with them?
I'm going to let Sarah take the lead because she was the one who approached me, and maybe kind of give a little bit of a backstory on how this all kind of came to be and how our first conversation started.
Perfect.
Well, to be honest with you, I think we had partnered a lot over the years with YSU in various aspects. And we also, when I looked at the senior center, I just kept thinking we can do better. And what happened with the senior center is it's one location, and we had to bring everything in to that one location and try to meet the needs. And it was limited to who could come into that one physical space. And we just weren't quite, in my opinion, meeting everybody's needs. and it was limited. And we also had a lot of different student interactions over the years, either through our home health or our hospice programs or therapy. And I just felt that we could do more, we could do better. And as my parents were starting to reach retirement age, I started thinking about them more as that senior. What would they enjoy through our senior center if they were to come? And I felt that I really kind of used them as our model and thought. And I also looked at the interactions between my son, who was in college, and also my parents, and things that they enjoyed and interacted with. And there is a lot that my children and my parents instill in them, and they teach them and they show them that are just, my father taps, his maple trees and makes homemade maple syrup, things that, are just hands-on and are just things that they don't do. But my parents also enjoy learning about technology, and when they need to know how to use their phones, who are the first people they go to their grandkids. So, and they enjoy going to the college football games and things like that. So as Tiffany and I were talking and discussing, we just knew that we could fix a lot of these things, and that interaction and that partnership through the university and also our senior center, we could create almost like a living lab where we could have this intergenerational program between the two and bring the seniors to the students and the students to the seniors, and really help create an environment where everyone's learning from each other. And so that's kind of how it got started. But at the same time, we are also wanting to look at that future workforce and the areas that they could begin to develop their skill sets as a student, and all different aspects like Tiffany had spoke about earlier.
Very good. Tiffany, is there anything you wanted to add to that?
I just think that, these days with the demographic changes and, we're focused so much on our growing older adult population, but sort of the flip side of that is that we have a shrinking, younger generation, relatively speaking. And the universities are, all struggling. Higher ed is struggling with lower enrollment, just, largely driven by the fact that we have fewer traditional age college students available to enroll in classes. And I think more universities are, we have, I think, an obligation to serve the communities in a variety of ways. And I think by, showing that we are more age friendly, more accessible to people of all ages, older adults at kind of the end of life spectrum. But at the same time, I think by showing that we can have these intergenerational exchanges, it might even, help demonstrate that YSU and all universities can, bring in more people and fill the seats with, the mid-career person who wants to make a change, or just somebody who just wants to go back and enhance their career in ways by earning a graduate degree or certificate in ways. So I think there's so many ways that everybody can benefit in our community, from the students to the older adult to just in general, the community can benefit. So I think there's it's a big win-win, I think, from us, that we just kind of couldn't see a negative of doing this partnership.
Absolutely. And I'm glad to kind of hear the backstory from Sarah of kind of how this all evolved. But let's talk a little bit more about like the tangible parts and pieces of the partnership. So talk to me about like what kind of programming you're going to be offering. Where will the partnership actually be, or where will the students and the aging population kind of be meeting together? Will that be at the university? Will that be at the senior center? Will it be a little bit of both? And before we get too far into that, Sarah, remind us where the senior center is. So if I'd like to come to the senior center, where is it? I know there was a recent move.
So we did move on into the Presbyterian Church on Wick Avenue. So we are really close to the university. The future senior center, how we envision it though, is kind of a senior center without walls. So there will be activities that will take place there, but we actually we'll be doing things throughout the university and throughout the city of Youngstown, and some things at Boardman Park and different areas of the Mahoning Valley. So that's a little bit what's different, is the senior center really won't have walls.
I love it. So that it'll be on the move. It'll different places for different
Correct.
activities.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. What are some of the programs then that you'll be offering, or some of the opportunities that you'll be offering for seniors and students to connect, whether it's at the senior center, at the university, or abroad?
Well, I think we have a lot that we're still planning, and this is kind of a work in progress. I think, as Sarah had mentioned, we have a history of already working together and doing things, and that will certainly continue. I think, in a nutshell, I kind of summarize it as, I imagine it being, opportunities that are very casual or informal, where perhaps, for example, we establish a coffee club where the older adults come on campus and have coffee with some students, and there's a little bit of informal mentoring and give and take and just socializing that I think is so important, through opportunities to have our students go to the center and practice some skills with the seniors, do some screenings, for example, maybe the nursing students, all the way through more structured class projects, where they maybe do, for example, something that we hope to get back to right when the pandemic hit. I was working with a group at the center with my students in gerontology, and we were doing a class called Tech Savvy Seniors. And, the digital divide, I think, unfortunately, is one of the reasons why we don't have as much intergenerational interaction. And the students were helping them with, how to use their smartphones, how to use apps and their computers and their tablets. And I think they fortunately learned a bit that was helping them through the pandemic once, you kind of had to go online to an extent with a lot of things. But, we hope to, work with more faculty at YSU in order to kind of get more of those types of, our students from various disciplines can kind of create projects like that to work with it. And I think one thing, and maybe we can say it even again, that I think is really important to take away from this is that I just want to emphasize that this is going to be a bi-directional relationship. I think the students can learn so much from the seniors, as well as the students, helping the seniors. So I think we definitely need to make that point. And I want everyone to take away that this is a bi-directional relationship where everyone benefits.
Of course. And I think what a great opportunity for both sides to learn from each other and to, take some new appreciation from different generations as they're getting to know one another. So I think that it'll be a lot of fun. I'm interested to see what programming opportunities and informal and formal, are to come. I do want to take a step back just for a second, because Ohio Living has been so well known within the senior living space when we talk about the senior center itself and providing educational opportunities for our seniors. And I just think that alongside YSU, Ohio Living has really done a great job of providing both social and educational experiences for seniors in the greater Youngstown area. And so, Sarah, I just want to take one second to kind of talk about the different offerings that are there. Obviously, the senior center has moved. The senior center is participating in this partnership, and that's going to be one of the places that we spend some time. But the Mahoning Valley Lifelong Learning Institute is still in existence, from what we understand. It's still there, but it is a different entity. So if you can just tell viewers very quickly about kind of what the difference between the two are, because when we hear Ohio Living, of course, that's where our brain goes, is to know that Learning Institute is there. So if you could just take 1 second to just kind of tell us where the divide is there.
Okay. So the Lifelong Learning Institute is definitely still there, and where they are really focused on that lifelong learner. This is really an intergenerational project, and so we are really focused on the interaction between the students and the seniors. And so this is a little bit different. It still does have some of the concepts of our original senior center and the programming, supportive services, recreational, but we are also integrating a lot of the different departments and programming of the university to come into the senior center. And that's what we really hope to see, is that all of the different colleges and programs at the university will have an opportunity to really have an open door at the senior center to come in and then we'll have that interaction. And then that will benefit both the students and the seniors at the same time.
Perfect. Well, I want to applaud the work that you're doing in that space for that population, and the fact that there are multiple options for them to engage with Ohio Living and to learn more, whichever way feels best and most comfortable to them. So I'm excited to see how everything works together as COVID's opening things back up and as you're getting the partnership launched. So we have about 5 minutes left together today. And in these last couple of minutes, I want to talk about your kickoff event, because from what I understand, we are going to have a party to celebrate the partnership. So talk to me about what's going to be happening on April 18th.
So I can let Tiffany give more details, but what I do want to share, and I'm really happy with, is we already started that collaboration. And so we took our seniors and Tiffany took her students, and the event is already being planned by them. And the one thing that I'm really proud of is we also are renaming the senior center. And so that's really exciting. And so we put that out there and are allowing the seniors and the students to participate in that renaming. And so there's a contest right now, and those entries are going to come in, and then they're going to be able to work with our corporate brand and growth team. And it's one of our first projects with this whole concept. And then our brand and growth team will be able to utilize that new form of innovation from either our senior or our student, and we'll go from there. So I'll let Tiffany give more details, but just initially, that was just even our very first project that we were able to do collectively.
Yeah, so the event is scheduled on Monday, April 18th at the university. It'll be at McKay Auditorium, which is in the Beagley College of Education, right near the new Barnes & Noble bookstore on that corner, for those of you who are familiar with that area. And so we're going to start off with some welcoming remarks and a light breakfast and announce what the center name will be. That was kind of our unveiling of and our way to kick off and announce this new partnership is with this new name. And then we are very fortunate to have a keynote speaker. Her name is Dr. Joanne Montepere from LaSalle University. It's near Boston, and they have LaSalle Village, which is a retirement community right on their university campus. And so she is a big proponent of age-friendly university initiatives and intergenerational programs. So she's going to share with us some of her ideas and work that she has done to kind of, help stimulate all of us and bring ideas to the table for what we might be able to offer here at YSU in partnership with Ohio Living. And then following that, we're going to have, we've scheduled to have many different organizations and programs from the university have information tables in the auditorium so that students as well as the seniors and the community at large who are in attendance at this event can just get a feel for what's going on campus, what's available to the community, and kind of understand what we might be bringing to the table and give us some feedback about what they'd like to see. I think part of this is new and we don't have all the answers. And so we want to get feedback from the students as well as the community and older adults to tell us what would be the ideal kind of center. What do you want to see? And we can build from there.
Very good. And if I want to attend this event, Ms. Tiffany, how can I register? How can I do so? Should I just come that day, or is there a registration process?
We do ask for registration just so we can plan in advance and have enough food for everybody. Food's always a good thing, right? We have a few different ways that an individual can register. We have a website that they can go to. It is case sensitive, so if you're typing it into your web browser, beware of that. Or there's a phone number you can call. And the phone number you'll reach the senior center now, and they can walk you through the information that they need to get you signed up. If you do go online, it's a 2-stage process. We just need enough information about you to make sure you know where to park and can follow up with everything that you need to know to make sure that you get to the event and the event is a successful experience for you.
I wish you both best of luck. This sounds like a wonderful opportunity.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Very good. Well, today we are grateful that we've had our friends from Ohio living in Youngstown State with us. Please plan on joining them for their event to kick off their new partnership, which is yet to also celebrate the new name of the Senior Center on April 18th. We hope that you guys will be able to join them there. So until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining us.